The noise never stopped. Drills, engines, and men shouting into radios. The valley pulsed with it day and night. Walter Briggs had tried patience, phone calls, even the county office. None of it mattered. Every vibration rattled through his walls until even silence felt like something he'd imagined. He told himself to endure it, to ignore the dust that settled on his porch, the lights that burned through his windows, the trucks that turned his fence into a target. He'd been through worse, he reminded himself, but he'd never had to watch his peace be stripped away like this. That night, the lights from the construction site flooded his bedroom, and the steady hum of machinery kept him awake. He lay still, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of his years. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Walter was too old for another fight, but too proud to give up what was his. The land around Walter Briggs's house was the kind of quiet most people didn't notice anymore. His small home sat on the edge of the valley, a few miles past the last gas station, where the road narrowed and the sound of traffic disappeared. He'd lived there for 20 years, ever since he and his wife decided they'd had enough of city noise. Each morning followed the same order: coffee, feeding the koi, checking the fence. He liked the routine. It kept things predictable. After the war, that mattered. He didn't need surprises. He'd had his share. The koi had been his wife's idea. Something peaceful, she'd said when they first dug the pond together. She'd wanted color and life outside the kitchen window. After she passed, he kept them for her. That morning started the same way it always did until Walter noticed movement beyond his kitchen window. Across the field that bordered his property, 3 men were walking the land. They didn't look like farmers or surveyors. They wore pressed shirts, dark trousers, and carried clipboards. One of them pointed toward the ridge while another took notes. Walter watched for a while, his mug warming his palms. That field used to belong to the Crawfords before they moved out west. He hadn't met whoever bought it after. For all he knew, the men were insurance people or buyers checking the soil. Still, suits didn't belong out here. He stayed at the window until they headed toward their car, a shiny black sedan parked where the gravel road ended. When the doors closed and the engine started, the hum carried easily across the valley. Walter waited until the sound faded before turning away. He set the empty mug on the counter and moved to his easel by the window. The morning light hit the sketch he'd left half-finished the day before: the pond, the fence line, and the old oak tree that had weathered every storm since he moved here. He adjusted the chair, picked up a pencil, and tried to pick up where he left off. He'd drawn only a few lines when the doorbell rang. The sharp sound cut through the stillness of the house. Walter frowned, set the pencil down, and wiped his hands on a rag. Hardly anyone ever came by unannounced. The mail carrier honked from the road if he had a package. The neighbors, what few there were, usually called first. He crossed the living room and opened the door. A man stood outside, mid-40s, clean-shaven, wearing gray slacks and a rolled-up dress shirt. His car was parked at the edge of the drive. "Mr. Briggs?" he asked. "Name's Howard. I'm with Redline Development." Walter held the screen door half open. "What do you want? Just a few minutes of your time. We're developing the valley. Going to bring in some commercial spaces, retail, that sort of thing. We're reaching out to property owners in the area. You're on our list," he said, smiling. "I'm not selling." Howard nodded, as if he expected the answer. "I hear that a lot at first, but I think you'll want to look at what we're offering. We pay well above market value. It's a good opportunity to get ahead of the changes that are coming." Walter studied the man's face. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "Changes?" "Construction," Howard said. "Trucks, noise, all temporary of course, but this whole stretch will be busy for a while. Best to move on before that starts." Walter replied quickly. "I'm fine right here." "Sure," Howard said, still polite, "but this is the last undeveloped section of the valley. Once work begins, you'll be boxed in by the project. The view will be gone. It's just the way progress works." Walter didn't answer. Howard hesitated just a second too long before setting the envelope on the porch railing. "We'll be in touch," he said, and walked back to his car. The sedan reversed slowly down the gravel, tires crunching until the sound faded into the open valley. Walter stood there for a while, the envelope untouched beside him. Then he picked it up, glanced at the Redline logo, and set it inside on the counter without opening it. Outside, the land was quiet again, but it didn't sound the same. In the following weeks, small changes crept in. Walter noticed tire tracks near the bend in the road, deep grooves cutting through the soft shoulder toward the valley floor. A flatbed truck soon passed carrying steel beams, its engine rattling the windows. He told himself it was nothing, just road work or a new farm project. But the traffic didn't stop. Every day brought dump trucks, graders, fuel tanks, and men in reflective vests staking flags and shouting instructions. A portable office appeared on the far end of the field. The horizon grew crowded with machinery. A week later, the dark sedan returned. Howard stepped out, sunglasses glinting. "Just thought I'd check in," he said lightly. "There's still time to make this easy on yourself, Mr. Briggs." Walter shook his head. "You already have my answer," Howard sighed. "Then you should know the work's already approved. Once it starts, there's no going back." His words lingered long after the car vanished. Not a threat exactly, but close enough. He tried to ignore it, kept the windows shut, moved his easel to the back room, worked only at night, but the noise always found him. Engines idled, alarms beeped, metal clanged, dust settled on everything. The porch railing, the koi pond, even his morning coffee cup. The air reeked of diesel and cement. One afternoon, a cement mixer ground over the corner of his lawn. Walter ran out, shouting, "You're on private property!" The driver only grinned and reversed, leaving deep ruts in the grass. The next day, another truck used his driveway to turn around, tearing through his flower bed. Each incident chipped away at the fragile calm. The list grew quickly. Each day brought new damage. The trucks parked closer. The generators ran longer. The mornings started earlier. The valley's silence turned into a low mechanical hum. Walter walked home slower than usual, shoes coated in pale dust, machinery droning behind him. He tried everything, the crew, the foreman, the county office, but every answer was the same. "Nothing we can do, sir." The walls seemed to close in, holding the vibration and diesel stench. He poured coffee he didn't want and stared out the kitchen window at the pond. The evening light glimmered across the surface until he saw it ripple wrong. Two koi flopped helplessly near the edge, their bright scales catching the porch light. The filter gurgled dry. Walter ran to the faucet. Nothing. The shed spigot, the sink dry. The bastards had shut off the water. Panic clenched his chest as he waded into the pond, lifting a fish in trembling hands, its gills gasping. Those koi had been his wife's idea, her last project before she got sick. Something peaceful, she'd said. He couldn't lose them too. Kneeling in the dirt beside them, soaked and shaking, he realized something inside him had cracked. That night, he didn't sleep. The house felt hollow, the hum of distant generators pressing against every wall. Walter sat at the kitchen table, staring at the old wooden box before him. Inside lay a handful of spent shell casings, dull brass glinting faintly under the light. He hadn't touched them in years, but now they gleamed like opportunity. The plan wasn't much just a distraction. The casings were empty, harmless, only meant to look suspicious if a metal detector passed by. Walter hoped it would slow construction, maybe remind them that not everything underground belonged to them. He waited until the valley fell silent, then set out under the thin gray-blue sky with a shovel and a pocketful of brass. At the edge of the churned dirt, where foundations were to be poured, he moved quickly, digging shallow holes, pressing the casings into the cold oil-scented ground. When the last one disappeared beneath the soil, he whispered, "That's enough." Back home, he scrubbed his hands clean and sat on the porch until dawn, soothed by the idea that, for once, he'd done something. By mid-morning, the first excavator rolled into the pit. Within minutes, a worker shouted, holding something metallic. The commotion spread fast, trucks halted, crews gathered, and a white county van appeared. Walter sat still on his porch, pretending to read the paper, his heart hammering. By late morning, the site looked like a crime scene. Inspectors combed the pit while workers stood in uneasy clusters. Through his window, Walter saw them lift one of his casings, then another. The foreman barked into his phone, glancing furiously toward the hill. Walter's stomach twisted. He hadn't meant for this. It was just supposed to buy him time. Then came the sound, a hollow metallic thud beneath the ground, followed by a deep, rolling boom that shook the valley. Dust shot skyward as shouts erupted and workers scattered. Walter gripped the porch railing, disbelief giving way to panic. He was certain the casings were empty. What if I missed one? Sirens wailed as fire trucks and emergency vans flooded the site. Yellow tape went up, sealing the area. Walter stood frozen, mind racing through every detail, the gloves, the shovel, the holes. He hadn't left a trace, but guilt pressed on him like weight. When the bomb squad arrived, floodlights swept the pit. Through his curtains, Walter watched their slow, deliberate movements. Radios crackled, and someone shouted, "Unexploded ordnance." His knees weakened. "It can't be me," he whispered. "It can't." By morning, the valley swarmed with officials. The bomb squad worked methodically, lifting soil in thin layers. Soon, they uncovered a corroded ammunition box, then another. The foreman's expression hardened as more crates emerged, their faded stencils barely legible. County inspectors murmured about old military storage. Someone mentioned Civil War-era munitions. Walter watched from his porch, stunned. The explosion hadn't come from his act, it had come from the land itself. Time, decay, and forgotten history had done what he never intended. His rebellion had simply exposed it. That afternoon, a municipal officer climbed the hill. "Mr. Briggs," he said gently, "we finished the sweep. Your property's clear. Looks like the old storage ended just past your fence line." Walter exhaled, his shoulders sagging. "So it's safe then?" "As safe as it gets," the man replied with a faint smile. "Whatever's buried out, there's been down longer than either of us." By week's end, Redline Development withdrew completely. The county designated the valley a protected recovery zone. The lights vanished. The machines went silent. What remained was peace, real, tangible peace. That evening, Walter fed the koi in the pond. The water shimmered beneath the setting sun, carrying the soft scent of wet grass and clean well water. He sat back on the porch, hands steady for the first time in months, watching the fish glide in slow circles. A quiet laugh escaped him, soft, weary, disbelieving. The war he'd spent a lifetime trying to forget had saved the last calm he still owned. For once, the silence didn't feel fragile. It felt like it finally belonged to him again.